can we do to prepare for this approaching water crisis? I'm joined by Rudy Roberts, Mega Water Corporation founder. Rudy, good evening, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Your thoughts on this crisis? Is it a crisis? Are we already in the crisis? How far away is it?
I think we are in a crisis. I think that we have a 21st century problem, as Jessica Naidu of the Water Research Commission says, and trying to resolve it with 20th century technology and 19th century rules. I think so. The government has to come and intervene. As you know, it's developed a master plan. It's called the National Water Master Plan and Sanitation. It's very long.
Yeah.
But it's to have an integrated approach to make South Africa water secure. It's not insurmountable because we can't do it. There's a number of interventions that I think, both from government and from the citizens, that have to be looked at. You know, I think the government has to look at new technologies around sanitation. We are a country that we are reticent to recycle water. We are reticent to use rain harvesting water methodologies. So I think those approaches in the future could assist in creating South Africa's security, water security, as we speak. On the government side is to introduce technologies, is to have better regulation where there's water losses. I mean, the water losses are quite significant, 25% of water losses in a country like South Africa around agri and the industry, agriculture and industry particularly. So that can be a great savings. Then our rivers are polluted. And that's degradation to a resource that we have at our disposal. And then we should look at, obviously, the other technologies such as desalination, which is many people are thinking about and so forth.
It was the buzzword at some point, desalination, and then what happened?
I think it's an exorbitant exercise. I mean, it has come down in some parts of the world where the model has been refined. But I think it's still an exorbitant exercise, and you have to ship the water all the way to, I mean, think about it. It's good for the coast. So I think it's not something we should rule out, something we should look at. But I think groundwater, for example, is much easier at our disposal to extract and to assist in creating.
And are we doing everything we can to access that groundwater?
We're not doing everything that we can. I think we've been struggling with groundwater, and we have significant amounts of groundwater, so to speak. I mean, South Africa is a parched country, the 30th parched country, or the wettest country in the world on the 30th scale. So it tells you where we are. But as I said, our problem is not insurmountable. It's really the interventions that we have to look at around recycling of water, rain harvesting, interventions, particularly around sanitation. I mean, we're a waterborne sewage country. I mean, and there are many technologies that have been introduced. This week, as I speak to you, I'll be attending the Bill Gates Foundation, where they brought business partners. In fact, Bill Gates and his foundation has developed technologies around sanitation, waterless sanitation. So just like the cell phone was something that you wouldn't believe would happen, it has happened. So there is waterless technology, which would also be a very big savings and create the water security that we're looking for.
So what do you reckon the problem is? Is it that we are not willing to figure out how? Is it too much work for us to look at these solutions? If these things are out there, if other countries are using them, I mean, yes, we have money problems, but surely, you know, it's going to get worse if we allow this to continue.
I think it will get worse because this impacts water security is very important for an economic growth. And now we are talking a great deal about our president and his cabinet, and is talking a great deal about economic growth and inclusive growth. Water impacts and is very pervasive. It has a profound effect on industry, households, farming, etc. So it tells you that it has an impact upon the economy. And you can see now how farms have been ravaged. If you saw the city press this past weekend, you could see that there was a headline on farmers being ravaged from the drought. So it has an impact upon small farmers, it has an impact upon industry, and it has impact upon jobs.
So why aren't we exploring these technologies that you're telling me about?
I think, as I said, South Africa has developed a very significant plan called the Master Plan, which on water and sanitation, and I think it encompasses moving South Africa forward. It's not insurmountable. I mean, we have to make sure that everybody has drinkable water and quality of water and sanitation, because we've subscribed to the Sustainable Development Goals. You know,
it seems we always have a plan, but why aren't we implementing? Why aren't we pushing ahead with this plan?
Isn't that the proverbial issue in South Africa?
It's a plan for everything.
Is a plan for everything, is implementation. I think, you know, from my own humble opinion, I believe that, you know, the president should have a water czar. Should have, you know, as he has a high panel of economists to talk about the economy, should have a panel talking about water. The foreign policy of Sweden is sustainability in water. Singapore was built, industrialized through water. So South Africa should take the same lead, I think, and the same effort.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about having more money, because the budgetary constraints, even though they're there, with the cost savings, you'd be able to overcome many of the problems that we face.
Yeah. So what is the actual problem? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's see what happens.